How about you puff me from the back and use my balls as a dessert, bub?
It's the Catechin.
No. We're not doing that today. It was gluten free. Yeah, no buns.
Hey, it's me, your buddy Ben.
Today's episode is brought to you by the premier app for discreetly meeting local skaters in your area, Grindr.
Colin Chandler 1-for-1 on long twos.
Some would say the heir to the Kawhi Leonard throne, Colin Chandler.
You calling him a White Claw?
Oh, what a great name.
Are you a skateboarder looking to connect with other skaters nearby? Then check out Grindr, the app that helps you discreetly meet fellow skaters. Whether you're searching for a truck stop, rest stop, or a back alley to perfect your tricks, Grindr helps you find the perfect spot to meet up with like-minded skaters.
Love to blow that 10 into 15 into 20 and really feel comfortable watching it.
Like the what?
What?
You'd like the what?
Blow that 10-point lead into a 15 lead or a 20-point lead. But
You man.
the
Ray, what do you think? Are you blowing tens or?
If I'm lucky, yeah.
Single skaters, jacked skaters, down for whatever skaters, you name it. And let me tell you, this app is legit. Just ask my girlfriend. Now she's totally on board and has agreed not to ask me about it anymore. I'm connecting with skaters all over the place. So pull out your skateboard, whether it's in your garage, attic, or buried deeply in your closet. Download Grindr today. Start connecting with your local skate community, because sometimes the best rides are the ones you share.
And honestly, like I thought we went through the back door way too many times. Like I feel like I should on that type of offense.
Can you go to the back door too much?
You certainly can, depending on a variety of circumstances. Actually,
Experience mostly. Yeah.
Preparation, before.
Yeah, the preparation ritual to go to the back door is significant.
48-hour notice is what I've
Yeah, that's what I tell my wife.
The Troy game, loved it. Huge for me. My wife's boyfriend's name is Troy, so when he was picking her up to take her out on Friday night, she'll be back in the morning. I was just like, "You guys are going down tonight," and he's like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Sucker's playing Troy." He was like, "I went to Brown." I was like, "I didn't know you went to an HBCU."
Another one.
It's the Catechin. We lost Travis Perry. We got an LLC. That's pretty cool. Capitalism, baby. Fellas, how we feeling?
Pretty stupid because I stood on business. I thought Travis Perry was staying for sure. Like I didn't think that was coming. I was completely wrong. So kind of dumb, but also he's going to be fine. The LLC thing's a little more depressing for me, but we'll get into that in a minute.
Yeah, I'm bummed about the TP stuff. It's tough to tell a guy, hey, I want you to be our 13th man, but that's how I felt. Wish him luck wherever he goes. Would certainly still love him to return, but it sounds like he has some real offers out there. Just hope to get the role he wants.
It's a real rebel, maybe a terrapin. We'll see.
Yeah, it's bummed. A lot of people were wishing Travis Perry away, which is
crazy.
Lame,
yeah,
you're not going to find a better 14th or 13th man anywhere across college basketball. But good for him. Let him go get better. I think we could have a real, what is it?
Marfo.
Yeah, I don't really even. Yeah, if we're in the trust tree here, I don't really understand that reference until.
I know Michi did like a double Marfo, so I just refer to everything as a Michi lately. But.
It's named after Kevin Marfo, who I think was the first person to, or maybe not the first person, but a notable person to have done that at Quinnipiac, left and came back.
I assumed it was an acronym. So.
Yeah, I also thought it was at first till I searched it.
Is there any chance Travis comes back, by the way? Do we know that? Like, is there any shot of him returning, or is it kind of out? I don't really know. So
I don't know. As far as I can tell, he hasn't put out like a thanks BBN message or something. I mean, I'm sure the door's open. I'm sure Pope isn't trying to push him out.
No, he's probably being honest about what his role is going to be, but that would be the only amount of pushing out he would do.
Yeah. And if there's, if Maryland wants to give him a ton of minutes, go be great, kid.
Or go to Utah State. Oh, whatever. Yeah, go to Maryland. Whatever works for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, so long, Travis.
Well,
Go be great.
pause until he signs somewhere. He's still.
Yeah, right. I'm certainly not saying anything bad about him.
If he goes to Ole Miss, though, is he kind of dead to you though? If he goes to Ole Miss, I mean,
No.
you can't.
No.
He's all right until he torches you for 25 next year.
The way I watched people talk about him in our own fan base all season long makes me
I'd almost welcome it.
not feel that way.
Yeah.
I think he was put in a tough spot. He wasn't the guy we wanted playing point guard, but he's what we had after our first, second, and third options went down. And
You mean a true freshman wasn't ready to play in the best league in the last 25 years of Division I basketball? Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And
he got
people
torched a few times, and they wanted this. Yeah, that's crazy.
People are saying like, "Man, this kid's a bum. He can't guard Mark Sears." And it's like, okay, well,
Yeah, most people can't guard Mark Sears.
A fifth-year returning player of the year candidate, sure.
Yeah.
I just don't think that's a fair bar to hold him to or judge him against. Obviously, I think our as a fan base perception of what freshmen should be able to do is a little skewed, just given the incredible freshman talent we've seen over the years. But I think that and people are shocked at some of these offers he's getting, and I'm not. I mean,
I'm
people
not
were saying
either.
go to Bradley, go to
He's way too good for those schools.
And
don't say
it's just not realistic. He was a top 75 guy in the high school class.
Yeah,
especially
four-star
people
guy.
like wishing him to Western. It's like, yeah, he could do a lot better than Western.
If he went to Western, I would want to fire the entire Utah State staff immediately. If he fell to Western, that's crazy work. Like the kid held his own for most of the time. Like, yeah, his lateral quickness was a little slow in the SEC. Like,
little.
So brother, 90% of it. Okay, he got torched in the SEC. Okay, so would 90% of the country. Like, all right, he's a true freshman. It's okay. My bad. He got his ass kicked in the SEC a little bit. Sorry, we'll tell it like it is. But it's not like he couldn't improve on that, and it's not like he was put in the best position. Like you say, he's our fourth guy thrown to the fire, right? I mean, it wasn't. I bet he didn't. He was as surprised as you were that he was playing.
Well, and people say, "Oh, so you want him to start?" And it's like, no, that's not the role I want for him. And I understand.
Want him to develop.
I totally get if the role that I have carved out for him in my head, which doesn't include him playing a lot this year, isn't what he wants and he wants to leave. Like, I get it. But I'm sure as hell not sitting here saying like, man, he's not our starter, get out, especially in a year where we had to rely, where we had depth issues at his position, and he now has experience. I think with another year, he'd be better. Would he still be my ideal point guard? No.
Oh.
But he had, people are saying like, oh, we're better without him. And it's like, if you think we're a better 12-man team with no TP than 13-man team with him,
you don't know ball. Yeah.
Yeah, I think best case scenario for Travis Perry, like maxing him out, is like the seventh man on a good Kentucky team.
Honestly though, like a national title winning Kentucky team in his senior year type of guy, 6th man of the year type candidate. Yeah. I could see that at DiVincenzo, not NBA DiVincenzo, but like the type of guy that he's going to be a 4-year guy. He's not a pro player, I don't think, or not an NBA guy, but
you mean
he's damn good though.
His senior year on the road to 11.
Shit. Maybe that'd be crazy pull if that's what happens. Yeah.
So
going for the 3-peat.
So for a guy whose ceiling is 7th, 8th man on a good to great Kentucky team, like I'm not happy he's gone. I'm not losing any sleep over it.
He starts on 75 to 80% of the Division I teams in the country, though. To put it in perspective, like that's what people are missing is like, yeah, he's a Kentucky kid, so it's weird because that almost gives him some benefit of the doubt at times, but it also like they shit on it too, right? Like. Oh, but legitimately, he's better than like 90% of recruits you're going to get year in and any school in the country. So it does suck to lose a kid like that. That is if we do in fact lose him, I don't know. He could come back. Like the portal's not like a permanent thing, but it's there's no saying it's addition by subtraction in this type of case. Like that would be a loss to lose Travis Perry out this team.
And we did.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing is that I mean, we all have really, really high hopes for Colin Chandler next year. And a
Hell
lot of
yeah.
that is based on him being really good in the last third of the season or so, the last 10 games. He turned it up. He was shooting like 50% from three. He defended better. He was able to take some of those reps at point guard, a little more comfortable handling the ball. Um, and I'm with you there. I think Colin Chandler is going to be awesome next year. Uh, but also looking at the season averages, Colin Chandler was like marginally better than Travis Perry in terms
I,
of how they played over the course of the season.
that's just, I think that's more a credit to how bad Colin's season started. I mean,
Well, yeah,
yeah, he
probably
just
so.
he was sunk like confidence wise. It just there was times when he just I honestly, it was all mental because Colin's a legitimate 5-star recruit. Like he's the best
Yeah,
prospect
yeah.
out of Utah in the last 10 years. So
My
I think his like it's more of Travis was very consistent but low ceiling, high floor kind of thing. Would you agree with that kind of thing? It was more of a Chandler kind of peaked a lot higher than where Travis would end up.
Yeah,
Certainly.
no, I do agree with that. The point I was going to make though is that as we have been looking at these transfers all portal season, we don't have that nuance. I mean, we don't unless you've watched all of these games, you don't know when Cam Williams was good and when he was bad. You know what the stats say average Cam Williams is.
A
And
box
so
score, yeah.
if you're looking at that for Perry and Chandler, you see, I mean, Chandler's the better player, but it's close. And
It's
so
not what the
I don't know.
stats would say. If you're looking at box scores for who's that's the yeah, we'll get to that in
Right.
a minute. But no, you have a great point with that. Yeah.
I will also add, and the chat's making this point too. I'd share them all, but I'll keep cutting off Braden, and then he doesn't like that, guys. He texts me afterwards, and he's just like, "I need screen time."
I
But
certainly do.
Colin has size and just natural athleticism
Right.
that Travis
Absolutely.
will just never have. And if he was marginally better than Travis this season, coming off of 2 years off of playing basketball, it's a little
Yeah.
telling.
There's
Yeah, no,
levels
I
to it for sure. Chandler has the ceiling is very very high on Colin
the
Chandler.
ceiling is the
Things break
roof.
right for Colin. He's going to the league.
Okay, you
For
saw the
sure.
step back jumper when he said you like that. Like that's the Colin you're going to see from day one next year. Honestly, you saw it in the blue white scrimmage or whatever y'all call it. And then it just went away a little bit. But like he'll be that player next year. Colin's going to take a massive jump for sure. I bet my life on it. He's going to take a huge leap. I'm glad he stuck around because it wasn't for certain.
Colin, come on the show.
I mean, at
Yeah.
this point, you really should. You know, you don't want to come to Utah State. That's fine, but I get it. You know, you could have started here. That's fine. Whatever, bud. No big
I'd
deal.
like to formally extend that offer to any Kentucky player, past or present. If you want to come on the show, let us know and we'll make it happen.
Keep DMing them. They don't respond. And it's
It,
personally, it's hurting my feelings. I
it's
keep
an
putting myself
agent
out
problem.
there,
You
and I
know,
get rejected. It's like I'm back in high school.
it's almost like Twitter needs me to pay to be verified again in order to get some DMs back, at least from agents. You know what I mean?
I thought about having my wife DM players to sort of do like a
Ooh.
catfish scenario to get them on the show.
Don't. You're not ready. Don't.
And then Jaron Pierre went elsewhere and we lost the opportunity for that to be the real.
If they said the wrong thing to my wife in the DMs before I was able to book them on the show, I might not be a Kentucky basketball fan anymore.
Here, so never try that, please, because I promise you, nope, nope, don't do that. Michael Porter to guess on the cat. Of course we do.
Nope, I shouldn't share that one, Raph. That one's my bad. That's not going to be a fun Google for anyone who sees that one.
What?
Yeah, it's just what Raph said in the chat. We're gonna stick and move, boys. Before we move on, see we got 59 people watching us live. It's always very cool. I always expect nobody to watch us.
Right,
If you could
it
do us a
is
favor
wild.
and like and sub to the stream, things have been going really well the past month for us, numbers wise.
It's crazy how much it's been. So we really appreciate everyone that like tunes in. I really don't know why you do, but we do appreciate it.
We really do. The only thing that people haven't really watched is that it's making me self-conscious about the puppet video because the puppet
Which
video is
is
not doing nearly as well.
absolute cinema. I think YouTube counts live views differently, dude, because that's the best thing we've put out since we started as a channel. Like no cap. I felt
Yeah,
things I didn't know I was gonna
we
feel.
the
Hey,
the
brother. Hey,
the group effort.
Who is the puppet? There's no puppets without my face, your face, and Kale, Rip, wherever he's at. And I thought it was his time. I thought he'd scheduled this time. I thought it was his choice, but okay. Missy Big Dog.
I never know what that guy's
Anyways,
doing.
I know, but he's so great.
But
And
if you're watching and haven't seen the puppet video,
please go
as soon
watch
as
it.
this is
Jared did a great
over,
job.
go watch this masterpiece that Jared made.
To be clear, that's Big Papa Podcast. Jared made that entirely himself. I literally had nothing to do with it other than like laughing my ass off as soon as I got sent it. So that's it.
Also, shout outs to my wife. She literally made the puppets and shot the whole thing and didn't immediately call me insane for having the idea. So,
Which shout out to your wife for sure.
boys, Kentucky made an LLC.
Hey,
Yeah, Champion Blue.
Okay, what's your? Somebody explain to me like I'm 12 what this means going forward.
Can I go first? Champion Blue sucks as a name.
Yeah, what get like Microsoft Paint? Like, what is that? That's an ass name. Yeah, that's trash.
But I think we'll have legal answer this one.
Yeah, we'll see. So it sounds like we've made this LLC and we're moving the entirety of the athletic department into this LLC. Every article that I've seen about it so far has been like the same kind of vague, like PR snippet that was in the initial announcement, and there haven't been a ton of details. As far as I understand, Mitch is still in charge of it. It's still under the university umbrella. It's going to have its own leadership, but also they'll kind of report to the board of trustees, I think.
Do they still recognize the NCAA?
Yeah, right. Yes, it's still that's going to be our NCAA member.
Are they chill with that? Because that seems like something to be super not chill with, is dealing with an LLC instead of a school.
So I'm sure they are, only because
They don't have a choice.
I'm sure the lawyers advising Mitch Barnhart and the university on this have identified that. Mitch is also on the committee that has a say sort of in the future of how the NCAA functions. And so I'm sure he used his knowledge from that to come up with a structure that's going to work and put us in an advantageous position going forward. Which, credit to him, I've been skeptical of his ability and willingness to do that, to make big decisions that will help us take advantage of some of these new NCAA rules. And it sounds like he is doing that with this. It remains to be seen how it works. We really don't know a ton about it. And because it sounds like we're the first school to do it, we also don't have a ton of other examples to point to at this point to say, hey, this is why they did it and how that's working out for them. But like I said, given Mitch's knowledge specifically about these new rules, I'm sure that it's going to be helpful for us, maybe with how we can do the rev share, maybe how we can generate revenue to use for the rev share. It sounds like it really is just going to let us be a lot more flexible with some of these decisions in a way that we can't if all of the athletic department employees are university employees, state employees.
That pesky student athlete provision is really getting in the way again.
Yeah, right. Kind of.
What's advantageous about doing this? I guess at this point, it's just we're like pulling the whole facade down, right? Like we're pro sports now. This is what it is. Okay.
So I think specifically as part of this, not part of the LLC thing, but part of the rev share thing, the NCAA is still maintaining that student athletes are not employees. So this is kind of a hypothetical, but in a world in which the student athletes do get deemed employees, it would be a nightmare for all of them to be state employees. I mean, then the state has to provide benefits in the way they do to everyone else that works for the state. They have to have a pension program.
It would just be the same as like a head coach, though, right? Like the head coach is typically the highest paid state employee. So I mean, they do the same thing.
That's often true, except think about how many. I mean, you're talking about one.
It's another 100 department, 100 person department. I think they could have
all of the information about what you're paying them is going to be Freedom of Information Act discoverable because they're state employees. There are definitely advantages to not having all of these be state employees.
Can we just go back to doing all this under the table? Like Anthony Davis for 100K sounds so good right now.
Steal.
Well, someone suggested that when we were talking about the complications of the fair market value standard for NIL going forward, and it's like, yeah, you can still do that. It's just as illegal as it's always been. I mean, but people did it before. It's not unreasonable to think people are going to do it going forward.
And people did go to
but
prison,
if you get
though,
caught, it's still. I mean, like the consequences are still the same.
Are
It's
we
just
like
gonna
one West Virginia like supreme ruling from like no eligibility, like in just every like Ian Martinez is in the transfer portal. He's played like a full 6 college years of basketball, and he's just like hoping that that all falls down. Like, at what point is this just minor league basketball? We're only like a couple steps away, I feel like.
I don't blame any of the guys whose eligibility expired that are in the portal. Just
We should
waiting
though. We
on
should.
this.
We should have some shame.
We
We
shouldn't.
should
We
have some
shouldn't though.
shame.
We
Go play
shouldn't
pro
though
ball.
because
Go play pro ball.
the
That's all I'm saying.
the idea for them behind entering the portal is, what if tomorrow the NCAA says, actually, we're going to give guys a 5th year, but those guys hadn't
But they
entered the
already
portal.
had 6. They already had 6.
Well, yeah,
So what does
yeah.
that
I mean,
matter?
yeah, but COVID didn't count, and a red shirt wouldn't count. But like, so say we give them another year of eligibility, and they hadn't
All right.
entered the portal, then they're stuck going back to the
Then
team
you
that
sue to
probably
enter the portal
filled their
because you didn't
position.
have that information. West Virginia
Right,
gives you an
but
injunction, and then you get in the portal. It'll be the same
but you
shit.
can avoid all of that by just entering the portal now.
Okay, fair enough.
And
I just think that's funny.
it
We
costs
literally had to put a
nothing.
note that like, why is he doing this? I don't know, but here he is.
So I will say with the LLC, and back to that, I think that whenever these schools do break away from the NCAA, and I think it's just a matter of time before all the schools do this LLC thing. It's going to make the college football super league of the Big Ten and SEC that much more cleaner to do. I wonder if this is also the workaround for Title IX, since it's technically going to be a private entity. I also think this spells the end for the name Rupp Arena, since they're going to be able to. They even said that they're like commercial, like real estate. If that doesn't include Rupp Arena, I don't know what would.
Yeah, well, I'm interested because we don't own that, right? Like the city of Lexington owns.
Oh, okay.
Owns Rupp, I think, and we. I mean, I'm sure we have like an exclusive first crack at it for our games, but yeah, I don't know. Raf asked in chat if there are any JMI concerns with the LLC. I don't know. I can't. I'm sure that JMI has been included in this. Like they're as frustrating as dealing with JMI is for us as fans. For those that don't know, they are our media rights partner. They sell the ads for the games. They give us a huge upfront payment, which is what we use to build the new science building on campus. They
huge.
give,
like how huge? I'm curious because that's gonna be massive, right?
Yeah, I mean, like hundreds of millions of dollars.
Oh,
for
shit,
like
okay.
For like a 10-year deal.
Also, Lando Mason Falls have never hit the portal. Shut up. Go on.
But so well, and this is the way it works across the country. It's JMI and Learfield are the two big companies that do this. So you sell you sell your media rights to these companies, and it helps you from a cash flow perspective. You then, as a university, aren't reliant on every year, can we sell the ads? Someone else sort of takes that burden.
Take the upfront.
And so the issue like we encountered is we all wanted to watch this blue-white game last year. And the blue-white game is to raise money for the NIL. But JMI owns the rights to anything that we have televised. So then it isn't going to Club Blue if we televise it, which is sort of why that was such a weird thing. And actually KSR uploaded the video, and JMI asked them to take it down of that event. But I think JMI is such a huge partner, and we're in all likelihood going to re-sign with them whenever this deal is up. I think that probably they're clued into this. They will continue to be a partner going forward. I can't imagine we're screwing them in some way with the LLC thing.
I would also anticipate probably ticket prices to raise if this is now a private entity and they want to be self-sustaining. And then probably, I mean, Doing it as LLC does make sense, because would you want employees of the University of Kentucky going out and trying to make NIL deals and make money for the players? Wouldn't it make more sense to have a private entity do that itself anyways?
No, I mean,
So
from a business perspective, yes, but from like why, I mean, the university is the reason they have the platform, so there is a little bit of an argument there to be made. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, an
so
LLC makes sense
so
in that sense, but
so part of this is kind of writing a fine line between, is this a university entity or not? And it needs to still be a university entity so that they can compete in the NCAA.
is it
I
La
mean,
Familia or is it University of Kentucky basketball?
I know. I mean, it's still the university owns this LLC. It's not like this is a wholly separate thing. It's still like under the university umbrella. They just it's different enough that some of the rules don't apply. But I think
For
that
now,
I think that a lot of them still will. Um, and so I don't think it's going to be like a total separate thing, nor should it be. I'm happy that it's still going to be something that is associated with the university. But all of this to say, I think it is. I don't think it's far enough separate from the university that it would be considered a third party from an NIL perspective. I mean, they still aren't going to be able to do NIL deals more than the rev share. So we'll still waiting to see how the house settlement shakes out. But I think we still need Club Blue, who's a true third party with that is not affiliated with the university.
this sucks, dude. I wish we could just go back to pretending it was like amateur athletics. I know it was always kind of a sham, but like this is kind of ass. I don't love all this. This is going to be a huge headache, and it's just going to get worse. I feel like.
I think that's fair. I think it's frustrating for a lot of people. I think it's fun. I think it's interesting.
It's fun when you're
It-
Kentucky, you know.
Oh yeah, this not great news for smaller schools. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so here, good and bad there, but it's very different when you've got the like Kentucky's the forefront of this, but like you can't even like the trickle down of this is so far. It's like different galaxies of what like most schools are going to deal with. This just feels like it's about to be intramurals versus like semi-pro. That feels like what we're about to have more so than we already do. And it's kind of a bummer because I just don't see it going back. Like, what do you do? Like, tell guys they have like the NCAA gets more teeth than they have now? Like, no way.
No.
They're as powerless as ever. And every day that goes by, they have less power. And West Virginia Supreme Court just loves to just absolutely scramble the brains of anything the NCAA wants to do. So,
Yeah, it'll be definitely interesting to watch. Probably a whole new set of winners and losers with this, like with the House settlement. But I don't. Based on the House settlement, it doesn't seem like it breaks quite across the line of power that people expected it to. I saw someone tweet out the expected men's basketball revenue sharing expenditures of each conference, and the SEC and Big Ten are the lowest. Big East the highest by, I mean, Big East is almost double what they're going to spend on men's basketball because they're not
They-
paying for football.
I was gonna say they don't have any football to pay for except for Division II.
Right.
but-
So it'll be interesting. It's I'm worried about what it means for the future of college athletics, but I've been worried about that for 3 years now. And
I think we've got
at
5
least, at
years
least we're
left
closer.
before-
At least we're closer to an answer now.
That's true. I'd rather have the bad news than no news at all. But it's coming to an end one way or another. It's going to be semi. I mean, there's no stopping it, right? Like kids want to get paid, that's fine. But like we're signing guys that have been pro players for 2 years in Europe to certain schools and paying guys $3 million for. Oh, if you're not hate watching BYU next year, I don't know what you're doing. Just saying.
Any new updates on the house settlement or anything like that?
Yeah, a little bit actually. So they had, I guess it was almost 3 weeks ago. They had the hearing, the hearing for final approval, and the judge told the attorneys, both for the class that is suing the NCAA and the NCAA and the conferences who are getting sued, this is a good settlement. Largely like it, and some objectors were given a chance to speak. One of the objections was about roster limits. specifically grandfathering people in now who are on a roster either in a partial scholarship or walk-on spot. And this basketball is not a good example for this because the basketball roster isn't changing dramatically, but football is a pretty good example.
Yeah.
So in football right now, you have 85 scholarships, but no roster limit. So that leads some teams to have like 130 players. Well, going forward, football is going to have 105 scholarships, but also 105 roster spots, which means like Clemson is I think the biggest example of just a ton of walk-ons. So anyone in excess of the 105th man just doesn't have a spot anymore. And so they're cutting, they're giving 20 more scholarships out, but they're losing 30 guys on top of that.
So you
And
can't have
so-
anybody that's not on scholarship, is what you're saying. There's no
No, you can. You just, I mean, so
So
they
BYU
could,
has a deal with Built Bar where they pay for every walk-on's way, like room, board, tuition, everything like that. Can they so they can still go unlimited NIL like that? That's not illegal.
no. So the difference is now there is no distinction between a scholarship limit and a roster limit. So like
Oh, okay.
you
So
can you can still have walk-ons. There's just no point in doing that unless you
okay.
want to save
So
money as a university.
a walk-on's a relic unless you're just being cheap.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're right. So for the basketball specific example, we had this year at Kentucky 12 scholarship players and 3 walk-ons. Next year we can have 15 scholarship players. But if we have 15 scholarship players, we then can't have walk-ons on top of that.
Mhm. Can you have managers for nuance of that?
Yeah, you still have your managers, but you're not on the roster. You're not, made a big deal this year about Zach Tao getting his jersey, and
He was on a
wouldn't be able to
one-day
do-
contract.
Yeah,
every
right.
time.
But so going back to the House settlement, the
Mhm.
judge told the attorneys, "Hey, this is something I have an issue with. I wish you would find a way to grandfather these guys in. Find a way so that you don't have the optics of taking away a roster spot from people." Which is fair, and there's some boring procedural reasons why she felt like that was necessary, but also I think as people, we can all acknowledge it's a bad look if you offered someone. I think cross country is really affected by this, just given the way the roster limits are changing. It's a bad look to have someone on the team and then say, "Hey, get out," for no reason other than we've got to cut you.
I mean,
And
like 2/3 of the transfer portal ends up like not finding a home, so I really don't
So-
feel that bad. But anyways, carry on.
the judge gave him a week to come back, figure out what you're going to do, come back, and we can discuss. And the attorneys came back, and instead of doing what she said and grandfathering them in, they came back with a list of reasons why they didn't need to. It's not important. They're walk-ons. They're not guaranteed a scholarship spot anyway.
Exactly.
And when they did that, she issued an order saying, "I'm going to delay denying your settlement altogether to give you one more chance to do what I told you to do, solve my concerns about this, not by excusing them, but by grandfathering in those guys." So now they have like 2 weeks, I think, to come back with a settlement that does that. And if not, she said she's going to just cancel the whole thing, which means they go back to litigation.
Hooray.
It just seems meaningless. Like it's obviously like what it's never going to go back to like more regulation. We're never going to like have more penalty for transfers or do you really think that I mean the LLC is to avoid this entire settlement altogether? Like come on. Like this whole thing's just a dog and pony show. Like, I don't even know why we're doing this.
I don't think it avoids the settlement at all. I think it's to facilitate it. I think it's to
okay.
I mean the team under the LLC is going to be subject to the same rules that the team not under the LLC would be. I mean,
Except for Title IX, right?
Well, I don't know. So maybe it's unclear. It's unclear whether Title IX applies to any of the rev share money at all.
It's going to be the
this
biggest
point.
hurdle, I think.
Yeah, easily.
But I think that also
Supreme Court loves in Title IX.
the current so the outgoing Biden administration, not going to be political at all here, just stating facts and how this happened. The outgoing administration, as one of their last things, issued a memo, the Department of Education, saying we think Title IX applies to this rev share money, and it has to be distributed proportionally like the scholarships are. The Trump administration Department of Education, one of the first things they did was
He has
rescind
the
that
Department of
memo
Education.
well, yeah, we'll see what happens with that.
Okay.
I don't know, but
Fair
the first thing they did after the administration change was revoke that memo saying we think Title IX applies to these funds. So it's now not the Department of Education's official stance that these funds need to be spent in the same way. And I don't know. As soon as this passes, someone's going to sue. Someone's going to say, "Hey, women aren't getting enough," and they're going to sue. That's what a bunch of the objections were at the House settlement hearing. It's
This is
definitely
so lame.
right. It'll be interesting.
Wow, I participate in the chat and then we get a break in the conversation. Unbelievable, guys.
This is why I hate this is what we're talking about instead of basketball. Like putting the ball in the basket. Basketball. We're talking about litigation, suing. It's so boring. And it's just not.
We got a good old fashioned Ben slam in the chat. Let's go. If I had an air horn one, I'd do it. I don't know if this is meaning to be a Ben slam. It says Ben knows a lot behind the scenes, on court stuff, and it's good at explaining it.
That's not a slam at all. He absolutely does. We'd be so cooked. I don't know any of
It
this.
feels
I'm
like it
learning
implies
right
he doesn't
along.
know the on court stuff.
I
Oh,
feel
that's-
like that's just you adding your little spin
I think
on it
you're reading
because-
into that, but also
I mean,
I
I
don't-
don't think it's that backhanded, but
Eddie, I do think this is interesting. Like it's been, I know Braden is like pretty miserable talking about, and
no, I just
Yeah.
hate, no, it's fascinating.
But-
it just sucks because it's inevitable. Like it's
Yeah,
it's
but
ass, but like it's the ass we get, right?
I think it's pretty interesting. And just
No,
as a big
choice.
college sports fan generally, I'm curious to see where it goes.
I mean, you ought to know where it's going.
And again, I feel better about our position being Kentucky. I mean, I think that being
This
a
is
big
Kentucky.
school who's a blue blood is helpful here.
You're one of
I
the 20
can't
brands
imagine
that
a
will survive
world-
no matter what.
I can't imagine a world in which we get left behind, and that gives me
No.
some comfort.
I'm so
I
glad.
understand not feeling that way as a fan of other schools.
Like
Now, I like
330
Utah
out of the
State.
threes.
So
Yeah.
it
Is that
concerns
right?
me a little bit as an Aggie at heart, I would
It's an
say.
Aggie at heart is crazy. I appreciate it though. I'm not going to fight that. I mean, I do have like the little A that lights up blue when they win right there.
There
But
you go.
um,
You know me, I'm always saying Wildcat by birth, Aggie by choice.
that's the
you know.
first time that sentence has been spoken by you in your entire life.
I think that's the first time that sentence has been
It's
spoken.
been spoken in history. I just wanted to make sure we knew by you. Mid majors will survive basketball. Football, we're just dead. There's literally no competing in football. The depth is we might as well be playing FCS football at Utah State right now, and we're going to be decent in the Mountain West. It's just the Mountain West can be terrible outside of Boise. But basketball, we can survive because there's only 15 spots on a roster, so I'm hopeful for that. But it all relies on football, and football's about to die outside of like the SEC and the Big Ten.
Let's move to the chat here. Peanut
All
Butter
right,
Posse, the chat regular. Thanks for coming through a lot. We're seeing you in all these lives. Really appreciate you hanging out. He says the portal needs to open like 2 weeks after the season. Feels like Florida's championship was overshadowed by the portal. Personally,
Good, fuck
okay.
'em.
I'm okay with Florida's championship being overshadowed. He does make a decent point later on when he said,
Kind of like that lawsuit was overshadowed.
I
a week
wasn't
ago.
thrilled to see Kentucky look unprepared versus Tennessee the day after we picked up a portal player. Just saying. True, but Cam Williams more or less committed on the spot. Now I know we are definitely scouting the portal and everything like that. I would say I think tampering's going on just during the season. So I'm not
Literally
sure if it
all
would have
season
any
long.
meaningful difference. Like you can set the rule, but I think the rule's going to get broken either way.
There's no
It's a broken
rules.
system.
There's no system. It's all garbage. Just like make it. Never mind. I'm gonna get so cynical about this. I hate this.
Yeah, I just don't like the disadvantage. I mean, not just the overshadowing. I don't like the disadvantage that it seems like teams that are continuing to compete in the tournament are at. I mean, if the team's still traveling, they're still practicing.
Where's
I
the
know
point
they had.
of no return there though? Right?
I mean, just do it after the season. Just wait till all of the games. I mean, they made a big deal about, well, we're fine opening the portal now because 90% of teams are done playing. That's like, Well, that sucks. Wait till the last 10% are done too. This is
But with that last 10%, though, you got to imagine what they're accomplishing is going to overshadow whatever the hell's going to happen in the portal that you're at a disadvantage for. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's diminishing returns at some point. I get that it
yeah,
should be all at the
sure.
same
I
time, but
just
like, I don't think the portal date matters at all. Mason Fossil got offered a ton of money like in the first week of December by BYU. So like like, and it was Kevin Young's brother, their little GM they have over there, just if anyone's curious. But it doesn't matter. They're going to do it whenever they do it. But you know what I mean? Like the
Yeah.
portal is the portal. The portal's, I mean, guys used to not be able to get like contacted. It was like a violation. Like the NCAA would do something if they got contacted. They don't give. They can't do anything now. So
We're recruiting high school players during the beginning of the season, anyways. Like I mean, it
I
happens.
think that's going to
Like,
come to an end too. You know, Patino's not recruiting any high school guys, is he? Didn't he say that?
he said that despite offering like 23. So
How
I
many
don't I
can? I mean,
don't
you still got to shotgun the offers out there just in case one of them bites. But I don't think he's going to sign many of them. I
but
mean,
you
there's
know
a reason we're getting
he
4 and
he
5 star guys at Utah State because none of you guys are signing them anymore because you want the
he
portal.
didn't sign any of them, but I also think it's very easy to say I'm done recruiting high school at the end of the high school cycle when you've got 0 commitments.
Like when
And
Coach
I don't
K
want
out
to
of his
take
team was
prom
asked in
queen.
COVID. Yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
right.
That's what Nate Oates like is. People might hate this, but I love Nate Oates ever since he called Coach K out on like wanting the season to end for COVID. But he's like, do you think if his team wasn't dog shit, he'd want the season to end because his team's
Sure.
bad. Anyways,
Back to the NIL discussion. Will says mid majors should be, still be able to compete. There's a ton of 0 to 3 star players who are good but overlooked. A mid major can pitch the idea of playing there and developing into a Power 5 player. Completely agree. I think that's the path
ev-
forward for mid
even
major players.
even more so, we just signed Vandy, this kid off Vandy, Collins, their 7th man. That now he's going to be a star at Utah State. He was a guy off the bench off a tournament team at Vandy. He didn't play super well against Kentucky, but that's neither here nor there. But I think there's guys that come from that level that are like that want to come down to the Mountain West or like whatever the new Pac conference is going to be, that type of level. And there'll be starters and stars. I think the basketball is going to survive for it. Utah State's never been in a better place like basketball wise because of it. Football's just dead, and like football's like my favorite sport. So kind of feels like it's all dead.
Rising tide lifts all ships. I think as you see these bigger schools start gearing themselves more towards the portal and maybe taking on 2 or 3 high school recruits versus 4 or 5, then you start having these mid majors. All of a sudden, they start getting 4-star players, and we even saw that with Utah State. So I think that you could have these 4-star players where they might not have even a roster spot, much less playing time at these larger schools. Now you can go be featured at still a great program at like a Utah State, or as someone mentioned, a Dayton, somewhere like that, where you can go improve yourself. And if you want to cash in, you cash in.
No, that's exactly the path forward because 15 roster spots is so different from whatever 105 or whatever it is in football. And the two, is there 2 portal windows for basketball or is that just football?
No, just football.
That's so garbage. Like that, like it's broken completely in football. Like there's no spring games and guys are still transferring out and then teams still suck. It's the wildest thing. It's the biggest waste of money ever. I wish I could have like figured out a way to like screw SMU out of a couple $1 million when I was playing. Just because they got money to burn, bro. We're all friends because SMU has money to burn. If you really think about it.
Oh yeah. Peanut butter pasta once again. Oh, sorry, buddy. You were saying something.
I was going to just comment on something Troy Rafferty said. The first step to fixing mid majors is not calling them mid anymore. It's belittling and mean. And I'm sure that's a joke. But one thing I think is important, and this became kind of apparent as we were talking about some of the transfer options we had this year, is that I think people sort of view it more like football, where you have really the P5 and then the group of 5 that where there's a wide gap between them.
The divide is massive in football.
And in basketball, it's just not quite like that. I mean, people say mid-major as a term that means anyone that isn't the SEC, Big 12, Big 10, ACC, and Big East, I guess, in basketball. But really, the Mountain West
was ahead of 2 of those
and the Atlantic 10, for example, West Coast Conference, American Conference USA, all are decent. Whereas like and so a good example here, like Kobe Brea, Atlantic 10, Dayton, is just going up against day in and day out very different competition than like a Trace and Eaglestaff at a Horizon League North Dakota.
That is very
And
different, yes.
people use the same mid-major term to describe both because we're not good about saying low major.
Low
But
major,
like
really, that's low major basketball.
The difference in the top 10 conferences and like everyone else is really where we should draw the line, and not.
Mm-hmm.
And even still, there's a gradient after that. But people tend to just view
really
like if you're not a school whose name I know from a big conference, you're going up against bums, and that's just not true.
This guy. Okay. All right.
Peanut Butter Posse once again. What do you guys think of BG, Moreno, and Yelovich? Don't forget D Rose never came back after it, never being the same after his ACL.
Yeah, JQ never relied on superhuman speed in like 15 years ago with the same injury, bud. But good try. JQ is going to be just fine. So that's not even. I don't even know. I'm acknowledging it. That's
now let's not be rude to Peanut Butter Posse.
I'm going to be rude to Peanut Butter Posse if he tries to compare JQ to Derrick Rose and their ACL injuries that are 15 years apart. Never mind. Good point, buddy.
It was a partial tear. I'll say that.
How old was Derrick Rose? How old was Derrick Rose when he tore his?
Truthfully, like at least 8 years older than our 17-year-old phenom at center.
Yeah, I think it was Derrick Rose's. It could have been third year in the league, maybe.
He was 24, 23, 24.
Yeah, no, I think that JQ
he still scored 50 after that.
Being 17 and having all of the benefits of modern medicine and the differences we've developed in training methods and recovery methods, coupled with being really young and still having a growing body, probably is helpful.
Do you guys really still think he's going to miss a bunch of time at the beginning of the year? I really just don't think he's going to. I think he's going to play from day one. I really do.
I hope so.
I think we got a great insurance policy in BG, Moreno, and Yelovich. I really like all their games. I think we're putting a lot of stock into Moreno being good. I do think he'll be good. I don't
want to count on any freshman for big time contribution. I don't think we're gonna have to. Look at this team, man. I think that's we kind of pivoted away from that stance a little bit too as a staff. But
all right, let's keep it.
I think there's probably a healthy middle ground there too. I mean, we got so used to the Cal freshman thing, and we saw some of them bust, which it's terrible when you have like a Devin Askew who you're now stuck with as your point guard all season, and that's a tough spot to be in. But also we saw some pretty good guards come through under Cal that were totally ready for it as freshmen. And so when you have guys like a Caden Lewis, who people are like, man, I can't believe he ever thought he, would compete for the starting role this year, or, when you bring in a Jalen Lowe, like maybe not, I don't know, but I'm not totally sold either on we can't rely on freshmen, because we did for a long time, and that. Yep. We saw a lot of them be really good and totally up to the task right away.
But I think in the era of the portal, you can't rely on freshmen, period. Go, Jared, sorry.
I'd like to point out Ben said bust and then just kept talking afterwards.
He did. He said we saw some of them bust as if
we weren't going to circle back
on
that.
Oh, yeah, no, I was really hoping we'd all forget.
I don't want people to get their hopes up for Moreno being a really great player, and for all I know, he could be. I hope he is. Just like
he'll be very raw, like a Brandon Garrison. Hopefully, with a little less Brandon Garrison energy. But you can say what you want. That's what's going to be.
I'd like to point out you said raw. Okay. Jared Sheldon says, "I bleed blue since '79." Same year, brother. Just a little bit earlier than that for me. But,
started breathing air in 1990, but we're right there with you, big dog.
All good. Appreciate you checking out the show.
Absolutely.
So, I don't know what this means. I do not hit on busty petites in the same way Tino doesn't recruit high schoolers.
Yeah, no, same.
I will say, stay woke to this. I think recruiting high schoolers is weird. Why are you texting and calling and visiting the homes of children?
And taking them to strip clubs.
I also, on that note, I feel like we as a fan base, some worse than others, have forgotten the age-old adage of don't text recruits, don't tweet at recruits.
Please stop.
People have gotten bad at that this year.
For God's sakes.
I got the pass. I have the pass.
Yeah, there,
Doesn't
there
matter,
seems
so.
to be a lot of people who think they have a pass to tweet at Cruz, and I'm not sure about all that.
Oh my god. I feel like you
Ronald
should be
gave
able to
us
fight like 3 people off Twitter every year.
Ronald gives
Yeah.
us his seal of approval. We appreciate that, Ronald.
Much appreciated.
No,
Lando points out Utah State has bags. They got that crumble cookie money.
we do have a little bit of that crumble cookie. But then he also goes on to say New Mexico and Colorado State put the Mountain West on their back. All right, Trill, ban him.
would
20
say.
seconds. Some would. Get out of here.
We're gonna keep.
And,
moving.
oh,
Sorry,
yeah, we're going to
scrolling
pop that
through.
up on the screen. Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah,
All right,
what do
fellas,
you
we're all caught up in the chat.
what do you think they even connect with these kids over? Like, man,
Boobs.
how's what's your favorite Fortnite dance?
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you
Fortnite
like puberty, huh? Pretty crazy, right? Check this out.
I mean, that's literally what Patino did at Louisville. So.
And he won a national title there, so at that bum ass school.
All right, fellas, that's about all the topics I got. Just general discussion here. I guess goodie bag if the chat has anything for us.
Did you see
about
the
basketball, about our
conversation
personal lives?
on Twitter about if 100 guys could beat up a gorilla? I don't think I've laughed that hard for 2 years, maybe. I was in shambles. If you haven't seen it, go look at it because it's fantastic. I'm not going to be number 1 through 10, but I'll fight that gorilla.
Ronald, I think. Oh,
Oh, look at that!
I got
True, nice
retracted.
work.
But
What
I
is-
was. I don't know that I think that it hurts us on the court necessarily. I mean, ideally for me, TP wasn't going to play much, if at all, and if he did, it was like victory cigar. I do think it hurts us in depth, though. And people say, well, you don't need to be that deep. But it's like, well, now we have the same number of guys we had last year. Our point guard spot is almost exactly the same number of people that you trust in that role this year as last year, where we ended up TP played in 30 something games and started 4. Like we needed him, and in my mind, we need someone else who's at least just a body who can step in there. I think we need some more depth.
Sorry, go ahead. My bad.
No, I just think that even if it's not a name that we know, not someone that we typically would be looking at in the portal, obviously at this point you need someone who's willing to sign on to be the 13th man, and they know they're not going to get called on outside of injury, which is why I was so excited that we had TP in that role. He had the experience. I think he's going to develop and be better, but he was a known quantity. I think now anyone we get in that role is going to be a step down. No offense to them in the future, whoever it may be. And hey, prove me wrong.
Well, and guys like Perry in practice are invaluable. The scout team that they can run, the way they can mimic other stars. I mean, the guy scored over 5,000 points, and they bring it up every single game, right? Then I know he had like an extra year or whatever, but like that's where he's going to be missed most, is running a scout team. Like a guy like that you can have, and he really should have been playing last year, and that's where it's really not really fair. And I do hope there's a way that he can find his way back, but he stepped in where he needed, and he honestly provided some good minutes. He obviously got cooked a little bit or a lot in SEC play, but it's a known quantity, and he's only going to get better from there. You saw the worst he's going to be as a collegiate player. He's going to go somewhere. He's going to play really, really well. And a lot of the people that are saying, "Oh, it's good he's gone," are going to feel real foolish, because he's a good basketball player. You can't teach a lot of the things he does. He's not as athletic as some of these guys, but he's a very good player.
I know I said this, I think, in our last stream, but people say, well, we really struggled when Perry was in. And it's like, yeah, find me a team who's on their 4th point guard option who's not struggling. That you're supposed to struggle when you have that many injuries at the same spot.
You shouldn't have 4 point guards.
Yeah. I mean, that was a crazy scenario, but your fourth point guard's supposed to put you in a bad spot. It's magic.
Oh no, it's all head. Oh God.
Go. We're not doing anything else till you finish it.
Failed bid until I finish.
You think?
Go.
It's all head.
Okay. Well,
it's like me, junior
bottoms
high
up,
school.
buddy.
Right.
Hey, buddy, Mr. Acorn.
We'll wait.
That's what I said. Are we supposed to do a hey, attaboy. A drunk
Eddie,
stream at some point for the
I
500
gotta work
subs,
in the
right?
morning.
Yeah, well,
Eddie says, I think Pope signs another Moneyball player like Almanor willing to take a deep bench role.
ideally.
I agree. I certainly hope so. And that's what it goes back to what I was saying about conference strength earlier, and highlights how good of a scout Almanor was. I think Fairleigh Dickinson's in the NEC, the Northeastern Conference, who
The
is
worst conference in the land.
30th out of 31. I mean, they are
Yeah.
terrible. And so to identify someone from that conference, I think shout out Matt Tantoro, our video guy, for finding and identifying that talent. That's a crazy pull. Like, to be able to go to watch his tape and identify a man who was Siena bound as someone for our team was great. I think that's the kind of person I see like filling this role. Maybe
If you're lucky,
European.
If you're lucky.
Yeah. Again, I don't mean to understate how difficult it is to just pull someone from
Ansley
there and
deserves
have
a lot
them.
of credit for what he did for this team
Yep.
last year.
For sure.
Also for busting Zach Edey's ass in the tournament, but
This one feels like a troll chat, and I'm not gonna lie, it hurts my feelings a little bit. So cool how you chugged that. First of all,
it
I'm
was
not trying to be a
cool.
cool guy.
I
Second,
thought it was
Braden
cool.
told me to finish it.
I told
It
it
hurts
was
my
dope.
feelings.
I think you're being sensitive. I think that was a compliment.
Lando thinks that was kind of slow, Jared. I don't
And
know how
Lando
Lando would know anything
he's
about
having an
drinking.
all-timer bad take night by Lando.
We were very lucky with Almanor.
It is
Thank
funny
you,
how a lot of
Dave.
people they're devastated when we don't get these guys from like these low-level schools when like you see them play during the regular season, and when we only beat those teams by 20, you're like, how are we so bad? But it's like you want these guys that
Right.
are from Jacksonville State, whatever. It's just crazy how nobody knows their names until we don't get them, and then it's like the world's ending.
If Almanor gets a fifth season, do we take him back?
1000%.
I'd certainly say yeah. We at this point we have 3 open roster spots. Obviously, I'd like one of those to be a guard just for depth purposes. But outside of that, it'd kind of be a
fine
bummer
go
for
in,
him. I
Lando.
don't know that the role is there, and you really don't want to scare off any of the other guys you brought in. But I'd be thrilled to have Almanor back.
I will answer this one real quick. A friend of the show, Calcata, says, Jared, we need more skits.
We need different usernames.
They're coming. They're coming. I got big plans for the summer. We're about to dry up as far as basketball news goes.
Thank
We're gonna
God.
be a
I'm
little
tired of
bit
talking about
weird.
basketball.
And then that's where I come in. JT says, I'm intimidated by Jared's confidence and relaxed demeanor. Thank you.
We all are.
Yeah.
All right, fellas. About to wrap this bad boy up. Just checking it out. We got one more. Someone actually asked, what part of Kentucky are we all from? We'll let Braden go first.
I live in Sacramento, California, so
Boo. Move to a grown-up state, though.
it's like the 5th biggest economy in the entire world, but we'll talk grown-up state sometime. That's fine.
I'm also not from Kentucky. My dad is from Lee County, though. So when my parents met, and I'm an Eastern Kentucky supremacist.
Is that similar to other supremacists in the area?
Yeah.
what now?
Yikes.
Pardon? Go ahead, Ben.
I'm from Oldham County, and I don't live there anymore. But Oldham County originally for me. Now I'm in Charlotte, North Carolina.
But where from? I don't know what that means. Where from in Kentucky? All right. Go Beattyville. Hell yeah, dude.
Sure. Yeah.
Go Bobcats.
Hell yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, it's been nice hanging out with you guys. I miss you. Wish I could put my arm around your neck, give you both a great big hug.
I think there's puppets on the way though, so that's good.
Can I be honest with you guys about something?
You didn't send them.
I was focused on the video.
I knew you
my
didn't
God.
fucking send. I knew it. I knew they weren't on their way because I didn't see a single package on the way. I said, "This is all for content." He's still snuggling those things.
So, and the Braden's arm keeps falling off. So
Yeah, and my hairline's a little jacked up as somebody poached. I pointed out on burner. So maybe we get that fixed too. And Lando, buddy, we'll talk. All right, stop that. Like 40%, buddy.
I want to keep hanging out. I ain't got nothing to talk about.
No, and it's going to devolve into talking about my online habits, and I don't want to do it. And we're going to move on.
Does Braden have any ties that made him a Kentucky fan?
Yeah, well, you're looking at him, bud.
We're getting some
Right above my head.
catechin lore building right here.
Yeah, Mark Pope is the tie. Because everyone told me they were going to make my. Well, they said they'd make. What was the one comment? They'd make Ted Kaczynski look mild if Pope really got hired after I was like bantering for him for a week straight. And then you guys I went to bed thinking like the world was ending because Pope got hired, and then you guys rallied the troops. In the morning, I had friends where I didn't have friends in the burner for like 3 weeks straight. Well, it was like 3 days, but I don't know how long the process was. But no, that's it. These guys right here. And like my best friend growing up was a Kentucky fan, but like I did antagonize him a lot. Got the bus to chant UAB one time. I'm not sure why, but they did. So
it's a crime.
My bad, y'all. I
For
was there when they
Rafferty,
beat Duke.
this is also the second most upset I've been about someone from the burner not sending stuff in the mail.
Yeah, fucking
If you
Barry
know, you
Larkin,
know.
man. Dill hole.
Yeah. How spoiled is Braden? He's been to one Kentucky basketball game, and it was a Duke game this year.
And I believe you almost got knocked out by that old man too.
Talk about batting 1,000.
Yeah,
you're welcome.
I've had to sit through so many Kentucky South Carolina games. I went to Kentucky Seton Hall.
Do you remember when they were down 9 and I looked you in your eyeballs and I said they're gonna win this game, and you're like, I don't know, Doc, and I said they're gonna win this game, and then they won that game, and then I like really roughhoused you too hard on the celebration a little bit. I felt like I left a little bruise.
I went to New York for my honeymoon and saw Kentucky play Seton Hall in Madison Square Garden, and had to watch Kentucky lose to Seton Hall on my honeymoon.
That's not a good one. No, I only go when they win typically. No, I'm not Mormon, buddy. I used to be, but
we're just going full lore here.
No, I role played for a while, LARPed it for a minute, was married, but not anymore.
We're putting it all out there. Let's go. All right, boys.
It's public record. We can look it up for you. You'll get one.
Let's run it back next week. If any major news breaks, we'll hop on during the week. Calipari made me extremely casual fan. I thought it was my age, but then Pope was hired. I was right back to my obsessive fan status. I think that's a lot of us. I was skipping games. I didn't watch Kentucky Gonzaga, Cal's final year. I didn't watch the Michigan Kentucky London game. I was just like skipping big time games because I was just like, what's the point anymore? I convinced myself that I cared more about the Bengals than Kentucky basketball. Wow. I mean, every March still only one team can make me stand up and scream the F word with a newborn child still in the room. So I think that's a bit telling. So, but yeah, just I feel like Pope just reinvigorated the whole fan base, and that's the reason why this show exists.
100%. It's not called the Catechin because Pope Francis. We'll say that. Rip.
I think Pope is exactly what we needed. I mean, I think it's got people feeling things about Kentucky basketball they haven't felt in a while, even when we were winning. So, what a blast! I saw he was out at the baseball game today with I think all 4 of the new guys other than JQ. So Aberdeen, Cam Williams, Lowe, and Diabate were all in town at the baseball game, getting their first experience of Kentucky fans, taking pics with their arms wrapped around kids' shoulders,
holding babies, all that stuff.
And I'm sure that was fun for them. I'm sure it was pretty cool to see firsthand for the first time what that's all like.
Craziness of BBN, man.
You guys see Pope with the Kentucky varsity jacket on visiting the Timberwolves?
Yeah, I said I think it's a great look to have the tallest non-player in the building standing on the court with a huge UK logo on his chest. He's recognizable. Yeah. He's visible.
He guarded Kobe and Michael, bro. Like, this man has all the credentials in the world. I got photo evidence.
Erexis, the real question is, does he wear the Letterman jacket to the Derby?
That'd be sick.
Wherever he wants.
He has a real aura to him, especially in person. When and Ben, you can attest to this too. When we were at the Beach Jam,
I've never met him.
when when Pope walks into the Peach Jam. I mean, the Peach Jam's a who's who of college basketball coaches, and every single major college basketball coach you can think of, minus Jerry Calhoun, was there at the Peach Jam. And when I said minus Jerry, I said every. That's a compliment. Anyways, when Pope comes in for a game, everybody was already there. Pope walks in last, and there is a hush across the crowd of "There's the Kentucky coach."
That guy could kick my ass.
And he's
said every other
he's a
coach.
giant. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just bigger, and then he sits front and center and has his legs fully extended, almost
With Gucci
almost on
shoes
the
on.
court.
Yeah.
It was also
So-
100 degrees in there, and at some point, Pope, who's already wearing a pullover, put on a second pullover. And we talked to him after the game. He said, "God, it's cold in there, and I'm in shorts and short sleeves, sweating."
He's
And
a vampire, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
100 mark, a prime Mark Pope saying, okay, yeah, no.
I take that. I take those odds 1v1.
That's what I was gonna say. 100. Here's the thing: 100 to end the discussion. Like the first 15 are getting like expeditiously destroyed, but like you're gonna overwhelm the gorilla eventually. Like there's too much mass. We're not gonna not win that fight. So, anyways,
And hey, Lando, kind of separately, could you send me a picture of that Julius Randle in the UK jacket post game presser? I love that Pope is reaching out to. I mean, obviously he was in touch when they did the bus walkout at his announcement press conference. Obviously in touch with a lot of the older UK players, his era, the previous era, after him, but there weren't a ton of Cal players there, and so to see him at this Timberwolves game with Randall and his arm around Dillingham, and to see him connecting with those guys and them reciprocating is awesome.
I've seen both Rondo. I know he's not a Cal guy; he's a Tubby guy. But Rondo, DeMarcus Cousins, they were asked about it when he was hired, and he had already reached out to both of those guys. He has a real big.
Hell yeah.
He's absolutely aware of like the need to like. He has no like. It's not like a pride thing of like Cal's guys versus his guys. It's Kentucky guys, and I think that's why he has the job, honestly, because of what it is. It's not him. It's Kentucky, you know. But he has a great outreach, like to all the generations of the players, even the ones that came right before him and his staff.
Yeah, I love that, and that's what I'm saying. That's what we needed. That's what we needed.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining the Catechin. We will see you guys next week, and for any emergent issues, we'll pop on, even if it's just a Braden solo show, and he just really lets you guys have it because he's got some stuff he's holding in. He just really wants to unleash on the chat. He gets really tired of you guys bullying him, frankly, and calling him what is it? The phrase they're saying, "Little PPBB" is what they've been saying.
How long have you been holding on to that one? That's insane.
I think it's actually.
I will drop trial
PPBB.
right now. I will literally. You know what? Move on.
Thank you for joining the Catechin. For Ben, for Braden, I'm Jared, and go Cats.
Go Cats.